Hello, welcome to Bville Live. I'm Christina Neely and I'll be your host. Today I'm featuring a delicious recipe, one of my son's all-time favorites, apple crisp. We're coming up on Thanksgiving, folks, and apple crisp is a delicious way to serve a nutritious meal to your friends. I'm living in Baldwinsville, New York right now. One of the wonderful things about this area are the apples. New York, of course, was known as the Big Apple, or New York City was, and the reason for that is because of the abundance of apples that you have up here. Today I'm going to be using several different varieties. These are fresh from a local orchard that we got. We have Yellow Delicious, we have the Empire Apple, and we have Red Delicious. So we have quite a mixture, and aren't they just beautiful? So I washed my apples and I'm going to get ready to prepare them. This is a super simple recipe. I like it better than a traditional apple pie simply because it's healthier. A lot of times when we make an apple pie, the crust is really laden with fat, shortening butter, something like that. This uses very, very little. So the main ingredient is the apple. Let's get started. All right, so let's start with some of our apples. So I'm going to start with, and it doesn't matter which one you start with. I don't even bother to butter the pan. I just use any kind of a Pyrex pan will do, or a pie plate. Doesn't even matter the size. So I use my apple core, which this one I have today is one that's going to cut it into sections. I do this because it cuts through it pretty quickly. The sections that it's going to cut are going to be a little too thick, so we're going to have to thin those down. So when it comes out, it looks like this. It's quite pretty. Looks like a rose, and then I'm just going to push that all the way through. Okay. Now I leave the skins on my apples when I do this. It adds more fiber and more nutrition. Okay, and everybody likes more nutrition, right? Okay, so then I'm left with these wedges that are about this big. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to slice that wedge into about 3 pieces. So then I'm going to be left with thin slayers like this. And I just kind of throw them in the pan. And I cut through this pretty quickly. I make this probably at least once a week, if not twice a week. My son's a cardiologist. He's very much concerned about food and health, and I like to try and cook as many healthy recipes as possible. Right now I'm trying to lose some weight myself. We eat a lot of vegetarian meals, and that all helps in providing for a long life. If you follow any of the people, Dave Buettner, who wrote the books on the Blue Zones or Pritikin Longevity Center, they all recommend lots of vegetables, fruits, and fiber in your diet. That'll extend your life. It'll make your colon very happy, and it's good for you. Okay. Unfortunately, a lot of the diseases that we have in this century right now are all related to what we eat. So, you know, the closer to nature, closer to vegetarian diet you can get, the better off you are. So we're going to do another one, same way. And I'm just going to push this down. Again, I get a nice section of apples there. Push this through. I actually asked for a core for my birthday. And my wonderful daughter-in-law, Tiffany, she's coming up for Thanksgiving, which is going to be tomorrow. And she bought me a very nice apple core, she told me, but she can't get it on the plane, so she's going to mail it up to me. So I'm looking forward to getting that. I like this apple core, but sometimes it's just easier to slice through the apples. So I'll just put these in here. I'm going to do this real quick. And if the slices are thin enough or you have a small enough apple, you only have to cut it into 2 sections. And this really looks pretty when it's done too. And it tastes delicious, and it's really good. So, you know, a scoop of that. Now, if you want to fattening it up and put vanilla ice cream on, you can. We don't. You could also just put some plain non-fat vanilla yogurt onto it if you want some creaminess. But I don't find that you really need anything. It's a little bit tough sometimes because if you don't get it exactly centered, or if the apple's too big, like in this case, it won't work. So I'm going to take this one out and hand cut. But yeah, it's a delicious dessert, and it really does stand alone. So if you have a larger apple, what I do is I just cut around the core, and then I'm going to cut the slices out. So this apple was quite large. So I got a couple of seeds in there. Get rid of those guys. and get rid of the core that way. So if you don't have an apple core, no big deal. You can just cut it the old-fashioned way. Oops, sorry. Almost hit you in the eye with an apple. So earlier today I made some videos on vegetarian chili, which I'm getting ready to upload, and I also baked my pumpkin pie and my shoe fly pie. So we're going to have quite a few delicious desserts for our Thanksgiving feast. But you can make these any time of year. I like to have a variety because everybody's got their favorites. And what we don't eat, we share with friends. You know, we have a small piece. Sometimes we'll eat some of the apple for breakfast, which makes a really nice breakfast, especially if you have company and you've been up late the night before and you're tired and you're cooking all day. This will make a really, really nice dessert. So I'm just going to mix those up. And I don't know how many more apples I'm going to be able to get in here. Now I have to tell you that the apples do go down. So I'm probably just going to use 4 for this because 2 of these apples were quite large. And we don't really have that big of a crowd coming, so I don't want to have too much in the way of leftovers. As much as I love leftovers, they tend to hang around a little too long on my hips, if you catch my drift. So put that aside. So I think I'm just going to call it a day with just these 4 apples. But you know, if you have a larger crowd, use as many as you can. My son was up at an apple cidery this past week, and he had a friend from out of town who came, and they got 10 pounds. They received 10 pounds of apples. I think it was a bottle of hard cider or something that they bought. So the friend didn't want all the apples. I said, I'll be glad to take them because I use them all the time. And they're great to have around as snacks. Much better for your kids than, you know, sugary, sweet, artificial snacks. A good natural apple is always good. All right, so we get rid of that. Quick rinse of my hands. Right back. Okay. All right. And I always like to clean up as I go along when I cook. It's a really good skill to learn in the kitchen. So these are our apples. I have a nice variety in here, and it's packed quite full. You know, it doesn't. I kind of mix them around, do a quick fork to kind of shift them around. You can add lemon juice. I make it so fast to get it in the oven, it doesn't even turn brown, so I don't worry about that. And I'm going to shift that down a little bit, put that aside. I turn my oven on to 350. You can turn it on now. It doesn't need to be preheated. I'm not a big believer in preheating ovens. I think it's a waste of electricity personally. It's, you know, I turn it on when I remember. All right, so the crumb part, the top. So I put about 1/4 to 1/3 of a cup of all-purpose white flour in here. And to that, I just sprinkle in some oats, plain old-fashioned oats. And I always use the old-fashioned ones, less processing. So about 1/2 cup of oats go in there. I also like to put some brown sugar in there. I like the taste of the brown sugar. You can also add molasses instead of the brown sugar. That's very good because that's high in iron. So I'm going to use about 1/3 of a cup. Okay, and that's going to be plenty of topping. Pop that right back up into the cabinet. And then I take some butter, and I prefer to cook with butter. I think it's better and healthier for you. And I'm going to use about 2 tablespoons of butter. Now this has been sitting out a little bit, so it is a little on the soft side, which is fine for this. And I'll put that back. And I'm just going to take my fork, okay, and I just use my fork to kind of mix it around in there, okay. And then, you know, once I get it mixed, you can also do this in the food processor. I try and not use everything in the food processor, mainly because honestly, I just don't feel like cleaning it out, so it's really more laziness than anything else. I can just rinse my hands underneath the sink. But a lot of times what I do too is I just take my fingers and get in there and kind of smush it all together like that, and it makes a nice, really fine textury crumb. Okay, and it doesn't have to be super mixed up, but that'll work. Okay, and I bring my sliced apples over, and you can see they haven't even turned yet. Okay, they're still nice and white. And I'm just gonna pack this down on top, okay? And that's pretty much it. Super easy to make, super healthy, and super delicious. So I'm going to shoot a video on Thanksgiving during dessert so you can see all the wonderful desserts I made, and I'll bring them over to show you. And I have my recipes I'll list at the end of each video, so if you're interested in making them at home, you can do that yourself. So let me rinse this off and I'll show you the other pies that I made today. We did actually have stored on one last night, so that is our delicious, nutritious apple crisp that we're going to have for Thanksgiving. You're going to put that in a 350-degree oven. We're going to set the timer for about 40 minutes. And that's about all it needs. And that's all going to mix together. It'll look beautiful when it's done. I'll take a photo of that and I'll add that onto this video for you in addition to the recipe. Okay, we're set. So earlier today, I made a pumpkin pie for Thanksgiving, and you can see a video clip of how to make a perfect, picture-perfect pumpkin pie. And I also have a video clip of the authentic Pennsylvania Dutch shoe fly pie. And as you can tell, we had some last night. We had it early. My son couldn't wait. He came in, he smelled it. He said, "Mom, I gotta have a piece." So I let him have it. So this and all my recipes can be found on Bville Live. Thanks for tuning in. Have a happy Thanksgiving and have a blessed day. The finished product of the apple crisp. Delicious, nutritious, and a favorite family treat for any occasion. Enjoy. I'll list the recipe after this video. Thanks for watching. Thanks for tuning in to Bville Live.